What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this has to be addressed because this is nerve wracking and you knew this was coming. Despite the fact that we saw during these playoffs several games where the role players stepped up while this guy underperformed consistently throughout the postseason. Whether it was Russell Westbrook coming through with some key buckets or key defensive plays down the stretch, whether it was Aaron Gordon, who went out there and had not one, but two game-winning shots for the Denver Nuggets while this guy struggled. Aaron Gordon, who went out there and played on an injury that has kept Steph Curry out of the playoffs for the past 2 weeks. Although I don't agree with that bullshit Aaron Gordon said in the press conference. Jamal Murray, who I believe the media has purposely kept off the All-Star list just to add to this narrative that Jokic doesn't have any All-Star help. A guy who dropped the quietest 55-point game in the history of the NBA. Everyone chose to ignore him dropping 55. A guy who dropped 50 points in the playoffs back in 2020. A guy that averaged over 30 points per game in the Western Conference Finals during their championship run. Oh, Jokic don't have no help. I'm going to tell you this right now. I said it before, and I'll say it again. What we're not going to do is have a different set of rules for Jokic versus every other big man in the history of the NBA. Because if that's the case, kiss my ass about my opinion about Wilt being the GOAT. Kiss my entire black fucking hairy ass. Period. Kiss my ass on that. Because somehow Wilt was supposed to, with an inferior team, beat a whole fucking super Celtic squad by himself. Stephen A. Smith, you fucking buck dancer. It was expected to do so. But this guy, who probably the greatest center ever, right now, has one more MVP than Giannis. And unlike Giannis, can't handle one-on-one with Isaiah Hartenstein. Giannis destroyed Isaiah Hartenstein this past year, including in the end-season tournament. Yeah, I know the stats don't count, but he destroyed him in that tournament. Also, frequently injured Joel Embiid destroyed Jokic in the Olympics. I'm supposed to ignore this. Jokic couldn't get it done against Alex Caruso, but you want me to believe that you can interject this guy into the 90s and he would dominate. You want me to believe that bullshit? You know, a subscriber of mine, sometimes we interact with one another on X, and you know, before we equated Jokic to being maybe a Brad Daugherty if he was playing back then, but now I don't even know if he'll be that. I don't think he'll be a Brad Daugherty. I think Jokic should be a good quality backup in the 90s, a really good quality backup, and I'm not even trying to be funny with that. I'm telling you, the lack of quality big men is helping Jokic. The lack of an actual real quality big man is helping Jokic look great. Remember, this is the same Jokic that was having struggles in the bubble against an elderly Dwight Howard. I don't think Jokic is all that special. I think you could also make an argument that the way Jokic plays hurts his teammates. because yes, he's padding his numbers with the rebounds and points and assists, but some players need the ball. Some players need the basketball to get into a rhythm. Not everybody can be a spot-up shooter. And yeah, Michael Porter Jr. struggled with his shot, but maybe he needs the ball in his hands more. If people ever think about that, maybe the Nuggets offense is too predictable with Jokic having the ball all the fucking time. Can Jokic play, a different style of ball like Will Chamberlain? Wilt could be a primary scorer. Wilt could be a facilitator / scorer / rebounder / playmaker, whatever. And he could be Bill Russell, a better version of Bill Russell when he was Lakers, because he could actually score efficiently. Not everybody could do that. But I don't want to hear no excuses for this dude, man. He don't need no help. He don't need this or that. He won a championship basically with that core a couple of years ago. But the problem is that this time, in the first round, they didn't go up against a 7th-seeded Timberwolves team. Or was it an 8th-seeded team? I'm trying to remember that year. Oh, yeah. The problem is this time they didn't go up against, I think it was a 8th-seeded Timberwolves team. And then the next round they played an underwhelming Phoenix Suns team. And then the conference finals they played a 7th-seeded Lakers team. And then the finals they played an 8th-seeded Heat team, I think it was. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, I gave Jokic props, but that was a weak-ass championship. It really was. And now the Western Conference is stronger. And that's why guys like LeBron getting exposed, KD's getting exposed, and, Jokic is getting exposed to a certain extent. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.